Welcome to Picks and Parlays here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network, also coming to you live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm your host, Nick Geber. This December the 27th, there's Christmas Day on the 25th, there's Boxing Day on the 26th, and then the one we all celebrate, North Korean Constitution Day on the 27th. I didn't know they had a constitution, but this apparently is a day for international celebration. I'm your host, Nick Geber. Great to be with you. Find me on Twitter at Nick Geber, of course. We are getting ready for a lot of terrific sporting events, and you want to bet them, don't you? Because, well, you just do, because that's what you like to do. And you don't know where to place your bet. Well, this is the show for you, because we're going to give you lots of free picks here today. We're going to be covering Premier League with Al Ninos, of course. We have a very accelerated schedule in the Premier League, culminating in a lot of matches for New Year's Day, and the day right after. We're going to talk Brighton, Bournemouth, Arsenal, Chelsea, Watford, Villa, and then Chip Chicken Dinner. Chirimbes will join me to talk NBA, Sixers at Magic, Bucks at Hawks, Pacers at Heat, and no show would be complete without a little NFL football. So we're going to give you that. NFL Rapid Fire with Craig Trapp and Tony LT Gray Tellez. We're going to end it with that. So a lot to get to today. Stay with us. Fasten your seatbelts. Picksandparlays.net is your place for the best picks, the best sports information. Be right back after this. All right, welcome to the show. Welcome back. We've got a lot to get to today. Of course, the Premier League is in full swing over the holiday period. They're going to have a little break from the January 2nd to January the 10th. In the meantime, of course, we have matches January the 1st and 2nd to get to. Who better to talk Premier League football with than my friend, expert handicapper at picksandparlays.net, Al Ninos. Al, how are you today?
Doing pretty good. Got a little action going, and so far it's looking pretty good, except for one pick on the Wizards. But okay, we can't win them all, can we?
All right, now focus, Al. We're talking Premier League football. We've curated some good matches coming up. There is a full slate of matches over this New Year's period, but we found three. That I think represent some really good value. I think you and I are going to agree on all of them, maybe except for one of them. So why don't we start, shall we, with Brighton Bournemouth. This is at the Amex. This match will take place on Saturday. Of course, Graham Potter's Brighton and Eddie Howe's Bournemouth. These are two teams that are desperately trying to get clear of the drop zone. I mean, they're clear right now. They want to get a bit more room between them. Bournemouth is 16th place with 20 points. They got a good draw at home versus Arsenal, while Brighton, they're in 15th place with 20 points. They lost away at Spurs. Brighton had that good run in November. They got some results at Palace, at Wolves, at Arsenal, but they've gone cold. They've lost the last two in a row. When I was looking at the odds here, Brighton at home are plus 100, which is even money. Bournemouth are plus 250. But look, Al, you and I have talked about this. This is one of these fairly cagey battles. Neither of these teams big scorers. They both concede a fair amount of goals, but they don't have very potent offenses. These are two teams that would happily take a point, and the last thing they want to do is drop all three. For me, Al, I'm taking a draw at plus 240. What do you like on this one?
Yeah, I have to agree with you that neither of the teams is going to try to risk too much. Obviously, they don't want to go without a point out of this one, and especially more than that is they don't want to give up 3 points to their opponents in this particular case, being close to relegation down the bottom of the table there. So yeah, I have to agree with you. I think this one's going to be a close one and a low-scoring game. I like the draw here. I think there's a lot of value in it.
Yeah, there's good value in the draw. Now, so you're just going to take the money line on the draw, right?
Yeah, and
okay.
I mean, yeah, that's my pick.
Okay, next up, let's talk Arsenal-Chelsea for a minute. This is the Emirates. Now, Arsenal are in 11th place, and I look at Arsenal and I think how far this team has come since that 2003-2004 season when they were the Invincibles, unbeaten in all 38 games in the Premier League. Although to be fair, they only won 24 games out of 38 that year. They did draw a lot of games, but nobody beat them that entire season. But they have come so far since then, unfortunately, in the wrong direction. They have only one win in 5. They're currently 11th in the table, and they just got a point away against Bournemouth at the Vitality for Mikel Arteta's first game in charge. You know, Al, but we'll get to the game in a second. You know, when you think about Arsenal Football Club, you think about all the greats, and you think about Arsene Wenger and all the trophies he got, the Premier League title. I think he got 3 titles, a bunch of trophies, bunch of FA Cups, bunch of League Cups. This team is a shadow of its former self. Yet financially they're sound. They have a beautiful stadium. The problem with Arsenal, of course, is Stan Kroenke owns them. And as long as Stan Kroenke owns this team, Mikel Arteta is going to be the sum total of their aspirations. When you look up the country and you look at, say, Liverpool, the city of Liverpool, an Everton Football Club who just brought in Carlo Ancelotti to manage Everton after the Marco Silva disappointments. That's a manager. But Arsenal bring in Mikel Arteta? I don't know. I scratch my head. On the other hand, Chelsea, I mean, Arteta's no Arsenal legend. Chelsea brought in a legend, Frank Lampard, to run him. He was managing at Derby County, and now they've got a young squad. They've got all the inconsistency that come with a young squad, and particularly now the transfer ban has been lifted. I think a lot of these players that were very comfortable in the fact that they weren't going to be moved on, there was no one else coming in, and they were playing with a sort of sense of freedom, and now playing, looking over their shoulder a little bit. But I think that's what you get from a young team. They dropped, in a surprising result, 3 points to Southampton at home. This match, though, is a London derby, Al, as you know. Chelsea in 4th, Arsenal in 11th. Arsenal at plus 180, Chelsea plus 134, the draw plus 250. Al, I'm taking the away team. I think Chelsea are going to get all 3. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, Arsenal's still dealing with a lot of problems, mainly with their defense. And obviously the coaching can improve there too. They just really have to figure something out, and they're really not right now. And Chelsea, a lot of these big clubs that you mentioned, I mean, it's not just Arsenal. A lot of these big clubs have been underperforming a bit. But in this particular matchup, I think Chelsea's been playing the better soccer, and I do think they win. But unlike you going for your big payout again, I'm taking them at a pick'em at minus 130. Just in case the Arsenal does pull off a draw here somehow. But I do agree with you that Chelsea's the right side here.
I cannot remember a team of the stature and history of Arsenal that has so spineless, so soulless, so without any fight in them. They are an absolute disgrace. And to go and get 1 point against Bournemouth as your, quote, new manager bounce, that's shocking. Chelsea, they're going to win this. Come on, grow some balls, Al. Don't take the pick'em, take the money line. You know you got it right. All right, just kidding. All right, next up, Watford Villa. This at Vicarage Road. This is a true relegation 6-pointer. Watford in 19th spot. They picked up a really good point on Boxing Day with that 1-1 draw against the Blades at Bramall Lane. They've improved massively since Nigel Pearson took over, and this is where you and I are going to differ, Al. Since he came in, they picked up 5 points in the last 3 games, or 4 games, okay? That's more points than they picked up in 7 games before then. They've got better performances from their big players like Gerald Deulofeu. Ben Foster in goals playing so much better with Nigel Pearson breathing down his neck. I really like what he's doing. Watford are a good team. They shouldn't be in 19th spot. And Villa, they're just coming off a massive 3-pointer, you know, where they beat the Canaries 1-0 at Villa Park. They really needed that. But that was the first win for Villa since November. But, you know, when I look at this, Al, it's Watford. It's at Vicarage Road. It's at home. New manager. Got that winning feeling again. Starting to lift themselves up off the bottom. I like Watford at home at plus 110. I don't think you see it that way, though.
No, the way I look at it here is, again, 2 teams at the very bottom of the league, both needing every point they can get. And Villa hasn't won in a while, but they've also faced a lot of very good teams during that stretch. And, you know, I don't think they were expected to win many of those. And I think they're in a good – sorry about that. I think they are in a good spot to get back on to getting some wins and more
Couldn't
points. So
couldn't disagree with you more, Al. Couldn't disagree with you more. Look, how many games have Villa won all season?
Villa is currently 5 games.
They've won 5 games out of 18. Are you telling me that the other 13 teams they've played, of them, they were all good teams? Rubbish.
No, recently.
Okay. This is, well, okay, so they beat the Canaries. I mean, that was a game they had to win, and they just eked by 1-0. I tell you what, Watford, new manager, getting back into the winning ways. They got a really, really good point against Sheffield United, who are a good team. You know that. They're currently, what, 6th in the Premier League? I don't know. I disagree with you, Al. I think you really want to look on this one at Watford and what they can do. And again, they are actually the bookmakers' favourites, plus 110. And they are, well, they are at home, so it's plus 110. But the home crowd will be behind them. I really, really like this one. Al Ninos, always an absolute pleasure to have you on, even if I disagree with you. And you're absolutely wrong. But it's always a pleasure. You can get Al's picks, by the way, at picksandparlays.net. Get over there. Right now we have a special 15% off everything you put in your basket. Use promo code BOWL, because of course it is the college bowl season. Get 15% off expert picks. And if you want to bet with the absolute best that you can in sporting intelligence. That's what we have for you at picksandparlays.net. Don't bet blind. All right, I'll be right back with Chicken Dinner Chirimbes for some NBA right after this. All right, welcome back. NBA it is this segment. We're going to talk 3 games for you that we have found. You're going to want the picks on these folks. Who better to join me to talk NBA basketball than my good friend, star handicapper, Chicken Dinner Chirimbes. Not in studio today. It is the holidays. No. He's busy getting his massages and mani-pedis and all that. He's too busy to come in. Chip, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. I hope you had a great holiday, Nick.
Well, thanks, Chipper. I did indeed, actually. Very nice. I can't say it was relaxing. Watched all the Premier League football that I could get my hands on, and there was a lot of it.
Nick, you got permission to do that after becoming betrothed? I mean, I'm quite surprised you had so much free time for yourself.
I am still my own man, Chip, at least for
That's good to hear.
Few months. At least for another few months. And then, you know, the official emasculation takes place. All right. Okay. All right. Let's start, shall we? Why don't we start with, well, this is obviously not an NBA match. That's my wrong notes. Unless the San Francisco 49ers are playing in the National Basketball Association. Which they're not. But however, the Sixers at Magic, they are. Let's talk Sixers at Magic. Sixers 23-10, 15-17-1 against the spread. They're on a 3-game winner right now, coming off a big Christmas Day win over the Bucks. They're 7-8 straight up, 6-8-1 against the spread away from home. They're 3rd in the league for field goal percentage, 5th in the league in 3-pointers. They've gone over in all of the last 5. And the Magic, 13-7, 12-16-2 against the spread. Monday's 103-95 win over the Bulls snapped a 3-game losing streak they were on. They're 9-6 straight up, 7-7-1 against the spread where they play at home. Total has gone over also with these guys in 5 of the last 6. Chipper, I'm seeing some sort of pattern here. The 76ers 2.5-point road favorites, 209 total, and I'm looking at that total, Chip, and I'm hearing someone whisper over in my ear.
But, this is a great matchup, and as a matter of fact, it's good. I'm sorry we're starting with it because it's going to be my premier matchup on Friday with my triple play of NBA best bet winners. I did have the Philadelphia 76ers as a best bet over Milwaukee on Christmas Day, so that was my gift to everyone, along with Houston going down against Golden State. But here, like you said, Philadelphia has been absolutely dominant at home, and they tied the franchise record of 3-pointers against Milwaukee. They made 21 3-point shots. I don't anticipate they're going to be able to do that once again. This line is a little shallow, but this Orlando Magic team goes over the total when they seem to be playing better competition. They're 7-3-1 against teams over 500. And as a matter of fact, Orlando hasn't won 2 games in a row against winning teams since they beat the 76ers back in November. So they may have some incentive here, but like you said, the overs 5-1 in their last 6, Philadelphia's been playing to the over, 10-4 in their last 14 overall, and against teams with winning percentages, winning records on the year, they're 11-4 to the over. So I think the over between Philadelphia and Orlando is the way to go. Philadelphia is coming off a really big win emotionally. They may not be ready, but Orlando hasn't been the most stellar of teams at home. So I think the safe route to go right now is to play this one over the total, Nick.
Well, you're talking about that big win over the Bucks. I mean, the Bucks were 26-4, and they're now 27-5 as a result of that win. You think there's kind of an emotional letdown? I mean, it's not like they're going to face a junk team. I mean, the Magic, they're a decent team. They're clearly not one of the league's best teams, but they're a decent team, right?
It's still not, playing the team the caliber of the Lakers, who they had met earlier and defeated, and now they went to Philadelphia. And that was sort of a setup situation, Nick, where they had the Lakers at home, and they beat them there day one on the road, and emotionally they weren't quite ready for Philadelphia. Maybe it's Philadelphia's turn to be up for their big home game against Milwaukee and now take to the road against Orlando. So you just have to tune in and see and get a hold of this triple play of best bet winners from me, and you'll have the answer.
All right, and if you want to do that, it's a great time because, as I mentioned earlier, we've got 15% off any of our expert picks, and there's really no one better than the man I'm talking to. I might add, the best dressed handicapper we have at Picks and Parlays. If you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, as opposed to listening to us on the Sports Byline Network, you'll know what I mean. Shipper looking great there, but I have to ask, are you actually wearing pants? Because we're only seeing you from the top.
Not today.
Okay,
not today,
right?
No.
Yeah, I've got it.
I've been in a barrel before, and you know that. I was naked at that time. So right now you got good enough with the shirt and tie.
You didn't get a Victoria's Secret gift certificate over, thanks.
No, I didn't. I'm very disappointed because you had made some promises earlier. But, Nick, I'm just having to stay on you about that.
All right, Chip, it sounds good. Speaking of the Milwaukee Bucks, let's talk about it. They're going to go to Atlanta, face the Hawks. The Bucks are 27-5, as we mentioned, 18-14 against the spread. Although their Christmas loss to the Sixers snapped a 3-game winning streak, they're still 8-2 and lead the league in scoring, field goal percentages, and rebounds. This team is hot right now. They're 9-1 straight up in their last 10 games against Atlanta. They're 10-3 against the spread in the last 13 games. The Hawks, well, we talked earlier about this, about the Sixers going to face Orlando. Said, well, Orlando aren't really that bad of a team. Well, the Atlanta Hawks really are that bad of a team.
Yes.
They're 6-25, 13-18 against the spread. They're just an awful team. They've lost 8 in a row. In fact, they're 1-9 in their last 10. They're 3-11 straight up, 8-6 against the spread when at home. Total, though, has gone over in 14 of the last 20. Bucks, big 11-point favorites, total 237. I'm just wondering, is over a dangerous play on this? Because that's some pretty good pointers right there.
Not at all. I've been pounding the over with Atlanta game in and game out because they just don't play defense. Trae Young is looking to throw the ball up once he gets over half court. Though Atlanta now has the return of John Collins, a Las Vegas man, by the way, is in his third year, still very young. He's only 21 years old. He came right out into the NBA after his freshman year. He is back after a 25-game suspension because of PED drug use. But like you said, I don't know how much help he can be to this Atlanta team. They've got the worst record, like you said, in the NBA against juxtapose the best record in the NBA. I think Milwaukee can call their shot here, Nick. They can win this game by 50 if they really wanted to, I believe, honestly. The thing is, are they going to come to play? They had just won 21 of 22. They had just beaten the Lakers. And now sort of like the air is out of their bubble, and they may just drop like a Hindenburg. I don't think they can lose this game. I really don't. But Atlanta is 6-1 at home against teams with winning record against the points, though they don't, even though they're only 2-6 overall in their last 8. It's a really tough call. I think that you'd have to take Milwaukee before you take Atlanta if you wanted a side. But to tell you the truth, I'd play it over because the Hawks fly. They don't play any defense at all.
Well, if you're a Hawks fan, do me a favor, call Dr. Kevorkian and have him put you out of his misery. But I think he's gone now too. So, all right, next up, Pacers at Heat. The Pacers 21-10, 16-13-2 against the spread, coming off a win against the champion Raptors, 120-115. 7-7 straight up, 7-7 against the spread away. Malcolm Brogdon, I'm going to messed that pronunciation up. That was okay, right? He's a question mark for this game. Total's gone under an 8 of the last 11, and the Heat 22-8. Another hot team right now, 18-10-2 against the spread, on a 3-game winner, including a 107-104 win against Utah. They're 13-1 straight up. They're 10-3-1 against the spread when they play at home. Justice Winslow is still every time we talk about them, he's a doubt. He's either in or he's out. I don't know what's up with that. Total's gone over in 7 of the last 8 for the Heat, though. They are favorites, -5. I didn't get a total on this one, though, Chipper.
But, this should be a really good NBA basketball game. They're two very well-coached teams, particularly the Miami team, which is underrated. Indiana, of course, 21-10. People, they're still without their star player, and they're over 67% wins on the year. And, they have had 3 days rest, as have the Heat. And there really is an advantage to either side, Nick, because Indiana's 35-17 against the points with 3 days rest or more. And the Heat, almost the exact same record, 5-16, though Miami is 12-3 at home against the points. And they're off that point spread loss to Utah the other night. We were lucky we had the Jazz as a point spread winner, but they're 18-7 after a point spread loss, which of course is 72%. This Miami Heat's a really tough team to defeat. They're a tough team at home. But Nick, I'm really wondering, these teams, they just don't keep up that pace for the entire year.
Yeah.
People can go out and they have the point spread record where they'll be 75%, and then they end up close to like 55, 60% toward the end of the year. And this may affect Indiana as well, because they're 4-0 in the last 4 meetings against Miami. But, this is a team that is 29-9 to the over when they're playing teams with winning percentages above 60%. So somehow they get their gear up. And usually, Nick, when we talk about this, teams are playing under when they're going against teams with winning records and better teams. But it looks like the Pacers pick up the pace, although they're 8-3 to the under in their last 11 overall. That win over Toronto was big for them. I don't know if they can be ready here. I think Miami's the side at home due to the fact that they have that non-point spread win against Utah. I would lean toward the Heat here.
You're going to take the points on the Heat. All right, fair enough. Chipper.
Well, they're going to be favored. The Heat
they are favored. Oh, yeah, they are favorites. Pardon me. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
5-point favorites. Yeah, I got it right here. Chipper,
Right.
tell me this. We just got a minute or so.
Sure.
What you got up on the site? And give me throw in a free bowl pick here for.
All right. Well, no problem with that, Nick. We were 4-0 going into Thursday's bowl action, and then we got ambushed by a very weakly coached Miami team. I thought they would rise to the occasion in Shreveport, but they didn't. Friday, there's a great game. There's a late game between Washington State and Air Force. Of course, I have a triple play of best bet winners is going to be highlighted right now by my Megabuck best bet winner, which is between Texas A&M and Oklahoma State. So that's live right now out there. Just log on, follow the buy links, get the entire day and entire package. Nick, like we said before, NFL, NBA, and NCAA basketball, it's all right there for the picking right now, and the college bowl games. And on Friday, we've got a 3-pack, but that late game with Air Force and Washington State may very well go over the total. There's a opposition, shall I say, of styles.
Very good.
Juxtaposition.
Very
Thank
good.
you very much. Of styles. And Air Force, of course, are going to try and, even though they're the Falcons, they'll be trying to keep the ball on the ground. And the Cougars,
We'll throw it.
a land animal, of course, will be throwing the ball.
Yeah.
So it's going to be
Chipper.
interesting dichotomy what happens.
All right, great one. Thanks, Chip Chirimbes. You can get his picks, picksandparlays.net. If you want to bet, you need the best intelligence you get. This man right here, he's one of the best we have. All right, I'm going to step aside, take a quick break. When we come back, NFL Rapid Fire with Craig Trapp and Tony LT Gray Tellez. Welcome back to the show. Picks and Parlays here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. I'm your host, Nick Geber. Great to be with you. Find me on Twitter at Nick Geber. I promise you NFL Rapid Fire. As soon as I get my notes organized here, we're going to do that. In the meantime, let's bring in our expert cappers, Craig El Huapo Trapp and Tony El Tigre Tellez. Gentlemen, welcome.
How we doing, Nick?
Good
Hope you
evening.
had a good Christmas.
I had an excellent one. How about you guys? Tigre, did you have a good one?
I had a good one. I feel great. I had a good holiday. Looking forward to the new year and some winning selections here for Week 17 of the NFL.
Yep, the final regular season week is upon us. There are some games that mean something and some games that don't mean something, but all of them mean something if you got some money riding on them. So why don't we start? Let's start with the Saints versus the Panthers. The Saints 12-3, 10-5 against the spread, looking for that first round bye. Coming off that win over the Titans, the Panthers 5-10, 6-8-1 against the spread. They're out of the playoffs. They've lost 8 in the last 9. They're 10-3 against the spread in the last 13. This should be an easy win for the Saints, guys. I got 13-point favorites, 46.5 points. Let's start with you, El Guapo Trapp.
Yeah, I think it's an easy win by the Saints. I don't think you see any letdown here. I think Drew Brees, Sean Payton have these Saints motivated and ready to roll here. I love this Saints team. I have the 7-3 against the spread the last 10. Panthers just 3-6 in the last 9. I think those trends continue. Lay the big number here on the road, and don't worry about this one. The Saints roll at -13 here.
All right, Tigre, roar away, my friend.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Craig. I'm going to take the living over the dead here. Give me the Saints laying the 13. New Orleans still has a shot at earning that first round bye. Home field advantage still in play. They're the early game, so they're going to need some help after this game to get in that spot, but they got to win to take care of business. We've seen them the past 2 games, double-digit wins, 38-28 on the road here in Tennessee. You look at Carolina, they've lost 7 straight after that ugly loss to the Indy. Panthers, let's face it, it's their home field. They'll have no home field advantage. There may even be more Saint fans than Panther fans in this game to watch this 5-10 team that's played very poorly. Saints have covered 6 of their past 7 on the road. Past 3 games, Saints are averaging 39 points, 422 yards per game. Panthers' defense has just been terrible. 30th in the league on third down. Defensively, 27th inside the red zone. They've turned the ball over 10 times the past 3 games. Will Greer, the third-string quarterback there. I'm going to go ahead and lay the points here with New Orleans.
All right, points it is, Tigre, points it is. All right, Colts at Jags. Colts favored to win their first game in Jacksonville since 2014. They're 7-8, 7-6-2 against the spread. Both teams out of the playoffs. The Colts at least hoping for a 500 season, if that's anything to hope for. Jags haven't scored more than 20 points since October. The Colts have scored 10 points combined in their last 2 trips to Jacksonville. Totals 44, Colts 3-point favorites. Are we going to see any scoring in this game? Let's start with you, Tigre.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the Colts here at -3. We'll see some scoring from the Colts. I don't know about the Jaguars, though, but note here, even though it's a home game for the Jacksonville Jaguars, there will be no home field advantage. I don't think the fans will come out to see this team. Of course, as you mentioned, the Colts will try to avoid losing season. They played well last week in that 38-6 home win to Carolina. They look like they're motivated here to get that 8-8 record. Look at the Jags. It's just been terrible. They failed to cover 6 of their past 7. They've been held to 12 points or fewer in 3 of their past 4 games. And, of course, the offense has been stagnant. Go ahead and lay the 3 here with Indianapolis.
All right, Wapo.
Well, I think you hit it on the head. This team, neither team has anything to play for. Not a whole lot of points. I like the under 43 here. I think the Jags will be lucky to get over 17. Heck, what am I saying? 17. They're probably going to get 10. I see this 17-10 type game. I think Colts win and cover, but I think the safer play is the under 43. I think this Jacksonville's offense continues to struggle this week.
This game isn't even featured in the NFL Red Zone package. It's in the new one, the NFL Dead Zone. If you're going to watch this game, drink a lot of alcohol. Okay, next up, let's do the Steelers-Ravens. That's next on the list. Oh, why not? We'll move it around a bit. Steelers-Ravens. The Steelers 8-7, 7-6-2 against the spread. They need this game as they're still in the playoff hunt down to the last game of the season. Lots of injuries, though, not going to help them at all. Quack, quack, Duck Hodges back for this one. The Ravens 13-2, 9-5-1 against the spread. They're going to play like their F team because they just don't need this game. The question is, do the Steelers... are they going to come on with their ankle boots and their walkers and their oxygen tanks, and they're going to even show up to be able to make a game out of this? Steelers are favorites, though, so apparently bookies think they're going to actually show up to play this game. They're 2 points favorites total, though, not big scoring, 37.5. Let's start with you, Craig. Do I have this one right?
Yeah, I think the Steelers do get the win here. I think Duck Hodges last week, he gets pulled. Of course, then Mason Rudolph gets hurt. He has to go back in the game. Still couldn't get it done against a bad Jets team. Although the Jets at least been playing better against the bad teams. I like the Steelers here because the Ravens, guess what? They're not going to be playing anybody. Lamar Jackson's not going to play. They're banged up at both running back and offensive line. I think a lot of the skill position players take this one completely off. I like the Steelers -2. Yes, their glimmer of hope for the playoffs. It's small. Of course, they need Tennessee to lose. But I think the Steelers do get the win and the cover, lay the 2 points here on the road in Baltimore.
All right, Tony the Tiger, how do you see this one?
Yeah, you always see some surprises in Week 17. This is the surprise game we're going to see. I'm going to take Baltimore here at +2. I'm going to go butt heads with Craig. You know what? I think the Baltimore Ravens backups are pretty good. We saw in the preseason how well they played. Robert Griffin, third figures to get a start here, but I'm not really confident in this Pittsburgh offense. You lose to the Jets. Come on. I mean, I think the Baltimore backups are better than the Jets' first string. So, you know, one thing to note here, the Titans will be playing the Texans, and the Steelers need the Titans to lose, but I think Tennessee's going to be up big in this one at half. And of course, the Steelers will be scoreboard watching, seeing that their season is over because the Tennessee will win that game. So I think it'll take the win out of their sail by the second half. And I think you got the Ravens here a little motivated with those backups like they did in the preseason. I'm going to take them +2.
All right, you're going to take the win +2. Speaking of the Titans and the Texans, let's do that. Texans versus Titans. Houston 10-5, 7-7-1 against the spread. They already AFC South Division champs. Not an awful lot to play for here. Some talk from Bill O'Brien that he's going to play starters as a win here, and a Chargers upset will see the Texans to the number 3 seed, but that game will be long over prior to start here, so I'm not sure I buy those rumors. The Titans 8-7 against the spread. They need this game to clinch that playoff spot. By the way, I hate that word clinch. It sounds like when you go to the doctor, you know? He's like, clinch. Anyway, we'll just leave it there. They blew it last week in that 38 to you guys are both laughing. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
They blew it last week in that 38-28 loss to the Saints. Texans, 1-point favorites, total 49. Okay, let's start with you, Craig.
Oh, this is my NFL game of the week. This is a week that I don't go big. I usually have 1 or 2 plays. This is the top play this week. Get it over at picksandparlays.net. Use that 15% off promo code BOWL, and I think it's $37.99, so 15% off of that price.
All right, yeah, we still have that promo code BOWL. Use that 15% off, as you said. Tony?
I'm going to go ahead, like I said in the previous game. I'm going to Tennessee here laying the points. You know, Titans do control their destiny and win, and they're in the playoffs. Tennessee has shown improvement offensively with Ryan Tannehill. I'm not buying that coach speak. It's a home game. Bill O'Brien just trying to kiss the booty of the owner to try to get some walk-up sales, try to sell some concessions, try to get some sales for his owner. But I don't believe he's going to play starters in this game or play him very much. They got to avoid injury. Remember, the wild card round starts on Saturday. So if you're going to go out there and play starters, you could be looking at a short week. So there's no way the starters are going to be put in harm's way here. I believe that's the approach here. The approach will be a playoff game for the Titans, a preseason game for the Texans. No injury, stay healthy. Go ahead and take Tennessee laying the points.
Well, you definitely want to stay healthy with all that clinching and booty kissing. All right, Tony Tellez. All right, let's move on to the next one. Let's see, Raiders versus Broncos. The Raiders 7-8 coming off a 24-17 win over the Chargers. They need this win to keep their playoff hopes alive. I mean, playoff hopes alive are coming down to the wire, Raiders. Hello. Gruden has said he won't rush back players. Me think the Raiders just packing it in when you hear that from the coach, and they still have, albeit a faint chance. The Broncos are out of the playoffs. They don't really care. Drew Lock is really the Broncos story this season. They're 8-3 against the spread for the last 7. They are, however, favorites, 4.5 points at home, 41.5 points total. Tony the Tiger. LT Gray, we will start with you, my friend.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take Denver minus the points here. Talk about scoreboard watching. This is another Raider team that needs a lot of help. They need the Steelers and the Titans to lose. But when you see the Titans up big in this game, it's going to take the wind out of their sail. Remember, the Raiders are dealing with injuries. They're starting running back and Jacobs, their running back, and that's a big 2 injuries there for the Raiders. They're starting right tackle out, and of course, Raiders have failed to cover 5 straight until they beat a down Chargers team. But look at their defense; they're 28th on third down, 30th in the red zone. Broncos defense best in the red zone, and they're still playing hard. I don't see any quit in this team. They're trying to build for next year. Drew Lock, he's playing for a starting job next season. That's something to keep an eye on here. So they're banking on Lock to be the guy. I'm going to go ahead and take the Denver Broncos laying the points.
All right, Craig?
I agree here. When I originally looked at that, I thought the Raiders, they're going to be motivated. And then you start reading, which sometimes can be a problem. You start reading the press clippings on the coaches. But like you said, when Gruden says, I'm not rushing people back, to me, that means he's probably not playing some banked up players. The Broncos are playing motivated. I think they think, next year could be a big jump forward for them. They're 7-3 against the spread in the last 10. The bookies tell you something here with the Broncos favored, but I even see this anywhere from 3 to 4.5. So make sure you shop it around. Let's take Denver and lay the points here.
All right, guys, just a few minutes left. We've got 2 games to get to still. Cardinals, Rams. This game is totally meaningless as neither team's headed to the playoffs. Maybe some payback, though, for the Cardinals for the 34-7 drubbing they got a few weeks ago. Kyler Murray is not near 100%. Rams, 7-point favorites, total 49. Who cares? Let's start with you, Craig.
Well, I think, like you said, when you say a who cares type game late in the season, week 17, to me, you get more than a touchdown, which we're getting here. I see the Cardinals now favored at 7.5. Cardinals did come off, of course, a huge upset win at Seattle last week. Well, Seattle caught looking past Arizona last week. I know Murray's out in this game, but I still think the Rams, they're just going to avoid injuries here. They just don't have a whole lot of depth at key positions. They can't afford to go into next season with any of their key players injured. Let's take the Cardinals here with all the points. I think this is one of those really questionable line type games where you see this and you go, oh, yeah, the Rams are just roll. And then they end up losing outright. But let's take the points just in case.
All right, Tony.
Yeah, I like this game a lot. Pick it up right now at picksandparlays.net.
All right, guys, 1 game left. Let's do it. Niners, Seahawks. Niners, 12-3, 8-6-1 against the spread, coming off a 34-31 win over the Rams. Win here will give them the number 1 seed and home field advantage. That's what they want. The Seahawks 11-4, 7-7-1 against spread. The problem here with the Seahawks, just as we were talking about, is they have a load of injuries, including their top 2 running backs. So we got a total of 47 points. The Niners are favorites at 3 points, 1.5 minutes. Let's start with you, T. Gray.
Yeah, I'm going to go over a total of 47. Both defenses are playing poorly. And you said there's no running backs for Seattle. Guess what? It's in Russell Wilson's hands, and they're going to throw the football and take advantage of that 49ers defense, that pass defense that's been terrible. Go ahead and take it over the total.
All right, Parlay Radio, or search Picks and Parlays. And, of course, our podcast is up immediately following the show. Let me recap the picks, though, just in case you missed any of them. Starting off, Al Ninos and I talked some Premier League football. Al said Brighton Bournemouth take the draw plus 288. Arsenal Chelsea take Chelsea. The Pickham minus 134. And Watford Aston Villa take Villa plus a half minus 112. For me, I just went straight money line. Brighton Bournemouth take the draw plus 288. Arsenal Chelsea take the Chelsea money line plus 134. And Watford Villa take Watford money line plus 110. Then Chip Chirimbes. We did a little NBA. Pacers at Heat take Miami minus 5. Bucks at Hawks take the over 237. And the Sixers at Magic. Chipper said take the over. And if you want the side, take his promo game. It's right there at picksandparlays.net. 15% off. Use promo code BOWL. All right, next up, we did NFL Rapid Fire. We started with, go back. We had, somewhere there, we had Craig's NFL. Hey, there's his NFL Rapid Fire picks. Saints at Panthers, take the Saints minus 13. Cardinals at Rams, take Cardinals plus 7.5. And the Niners at Hawks, take the Seahawks plus 3. And Tony L.T. Gray Tellez gave us his picks. Colts at Jaguars, take the Colts minus 3.5. Titans at Texans, take the Titans minus 3.5. Niners at Seahawks, take the over 47 points. And his promo pick is Cardinals at Rams. Pick it up right now, picksandparlays.net. Don't forget, 15% off. Use promo code BOWL. Hope you enjoyed the show. Just a reminder, Monday through Friday, we're here giving you the best in sports betting intelligence. That's right, loads of free picks for you right here on this show, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, every day of the week. And once again, if you missed any part of the show,